Hello, hello, my loves. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Feminine Dating Podcast. This is a space where we get to explore the art of dating with confidence and nurturing our inherent feminine strength that we all have within us. I'm your host, Lilian Toscano, and I am so happy and delighted that you're here. So happy that you decided to join me on this episode, which is a very special episode, I believe, for me, because we are addressing something very deeply important and often challenging. This is something that I went through myself, and so I have so much to share with you as to how I was able to let go of a toxic man and reclaim my power. So this is the topic today: how to let go of a toxic man and reclaim your power. So if you are in this situation, my love, please listen up. There's so much that I want to share with you because I went through this myself, and I can tell you that once you are on the other side, once you make that courageous decision, once you claim yourself and you claim your power, you're never going to look back, and you are going to be so happy and fulfilled for the decisions that you're making today. So this is a journey that many of us have walked, right? Or are walking at this moment. And maybe you are in the situation at this moment. And it's crucial, my loves, to approach this with a lot of love, a lot of compassion, and a strong belief in our worth. This is the main thing. Love yourself, give yourself so much compassion, and take it one baby step at a time. Okay. Take a nice deep breath here. And let's start. This is the beginning of how I started to detach myself from a person that was no longer in alignment or who I wanted to be with. And that was by questioning myself in many ways. So I started asking myself questions such as, and you can write these down in your journal, and you can journal later on, as to questions like, what's keeping me in this relationship? Why am I accepting a situation that doesn't honor my value? Right? Why am I here? Why am I here in the sense of like, why am I deciding to be in this situation? Because you have the power to remove yourself from that situation. You have the power to let go. I know we oftentimes feel like we don't have that choice, that the only choice is to stay because we love that person so much, but we have that choice. And in order to really have a healthy relationship, you yourself has to come first. You have to love yourself first before you can love someone else. So if you want this healthy relationship, whether it be with this man later on in life or with someone else, you still have to put yourself first. And this takes away that dynamic that you're having, this toxic dynamic that you're having. So I am not saying that you have to fully let go of this man forever. But you'll see that once you let go and you rebuild yourself in the way I'm going to be teaching you in this episode, you are no longer going to be the same person. You're going to be a better version of yourself that may not be even in alignment with this man anymore. And you may not find him as alluring and as attractive as you may be finding him today. So you may find yourself actually saying, like, I don't want to go back to that. That's not for me. And this is what happened with me. I thought, when I ended things and I did all of this work, I thought to myself, you know what? When I become this other version of myself, maybe there was a little hope in me that maybe then I will come back to this man. This man somehow will come back into my life. And it so happens that, I just became a different version of me. And when I did that, I didn't want him. I didn't want him back. I was happy for him to live his life, and I was just living my own beautiful life, and I didn't want him anymore. And so I want you to keep that as, if as I know we all hope for the best and we all want things to shift and change with our men, and maybe that is the case. Maybe you will have that, right? So but it doesn't necessarily mean that the next version of you will even want that. So you'll see. Okay. So that is the first step, my love, is to go inwards and just ask yourself, why is it that I'm here? Why am I here? What's keeping me here? Right. And you're going to find a lot of the answers to be very interesting and maybe even shocking to you as to what's keeping you there, because we start seeing patterns of why we're here. Like, what benefit am I getting from this? What am I gaining from being in this situation, right? And you may be addicted to the drama, and that's what's keeping you there, because it just keeps you in this like high and low. And this is what I noticed in myself, that I was so in love with that, with the drama. And I was also addicted to the pain. And I know this sounds crazy, right? Because you're like, what? What are you talking about? And the reason why I felt like I was addicted to this pain was because I associated love with pain. And so I was addicted to pain because that made me feel like I truly loved, and that somehow, we had to overcome something. We have to overcome these challenges to be in this relationship, and all this work that I was doing, all these challenges that I was going through, and all this pain was going to give me that gratification that I wanted in my life. Yet, as you know, that's not the case, right? So I ended up doing all of these things because I was so addicted to pain. I was addicted to pain because I associated that with love. And maybe that's what you're doing, right? You're associating all of this pain with the love that you desire, with love, which is, something that you can just notice and love about you. And this is a part of you that needs to heal, of course, right? So just notice it for now. And the next thing that I did that I felt like was so powerful in my life was to start embarking on the self-love journey, right? So I wasn't no longer kicking myself for wanting this man. I was no longer kicking myself for feeling love or for loving this man, even though he wasn't a good partner to me. I wasn't making myself feel bad for wanting love. Right? I started loving myself. I started pouring love into myself. I started accepting that part of me that's so beautiful, that romantic part of me that wanted love, right? It was just directed to the wrong person. Yet that part of me was a beautiful part of me. So I started really, pouring love into me. And I'm not talking about pampering myself. Yes, pampering is good. You should go and pamper yourself, give yourself a nice bubble bath. um, but what I'm talking about is, affirming your worth, celebrating your strengths and nurturing your spirit. And that is true self-love, right? When you give yourself that compassion and that understanding, and you celebrate you and know that you are worthy of so much more. So that was my next step. Once I started learning about my patterns, I started loving myself, even though I was, used to or had, patterns that were not serving me. I loved myself. Right. And I even teach my clients now to say that to themselves. Like, even though I don't feel lovable, I love myself. I love myself regardless. Right. I love me. So this is something that I learned as well, just to love myself regardless of my flaws. So the next big step that I took after building myself with love and really pouring love into me and finding different rituals, different ways of loving me, I started really building my self-confidence, right? And this is another key in this, because a lot of times this is what's missing in our lives, is that we don't have the confidence in ourselves, and knowing that we are worthy of so much more. Why? Because we have been brought up, or we have experienced situations with people that have given us the wrong idea, right? That have taught us that this is it, this is all we have, and if we let go of this, then we're going to be left with nothing. And that's not the case. Once you start building your self-confidence, you're going to start seeing how worthy you are and how capable you are of having the relationship that you desire, right? And this is not going to happen overnight, my love. This is a process, right? It's a process of small, consistent steps, right? So beginning by recognizing your achievements, right? By setting healthy boundaries with yourself first, right? Setting those healthy boundaries with yourself and honoring your needs and feelings. That is how you start building that self-confidence, is by saying no and meaning it and following through, is by creating that healthy, beautiful love bubble. That's called, let's call those boundaries a love bubble. So instead of being boundaries, because sometimes like boundaries just feel like, ooh, so like, oh, I'm putting up a wall. No, it's a love bubble that you've created around you. And that gets to protect you, that gets to love you. And you get to be in this beautiful love bubble, taking care of you and allowing other, arrows of love coming your way. Allow people to love you. Yet you're still in this beautiful love bubble that's protecting you, that's taking care of you. That's what boundaries are, right? And honoring your needs, not forgetting about your needs, because they're very, very important. You are important. You are a very important person. You are very special. You are unique. You are an incredible human being. You have to start building that confidence within you. You are so special, my love. You do not even understand how special you are. Okay? You forgot how special you are, how incredible you are. So I'm here to remind you that you're an incredible woman, that there are so many men out there that are dying to be with a woman like you. Okay? Start building that confidence in you. Start talking to you like that, like I'm talking to you right now. Start talking to yourself that way. You'll see this energy just starts like shifting because you feel so confident in you. You feel so good about you. You're building yourself up. Right. And this is what I did with myself. That self-talk, now it was all about building myself up. It was with love, with compassion, with understanding. And it was like giving myself that pep talk, but in a beautiful way of like, you are incredible. You are unique. You're special. You are worthy of love. Right. And this is how you start building your confidence. It starts with the self-talk. It starts with those healthy boundaries, creating that love bubble that I just talked about, and honoring your needs and feelings because they are important and you are worthy of having that beautiful relationship that you desire. Now, the next big thing that I feel that I did and that really got me through it all, through the pain, through me, like those nights where I was just so feeling so low. The nights that I cried myself to sleep, the nights that I felt so much pain. What got me through all that was that I started visualizing what my future would be without this relationship, without this man. Started seeing like, what does it look like? What does it feel like? I started imagining, the sense of freedom, the space of genuine love, the opportunities to grow and flourish. And I started seeing myself more and more in the arms of a wonderful man that loved me. I started seeing myself how my day would be without him, how I would be able to breathe on my own and not need him, right? Because I felt so addicted to him in so many ways. And so I started visualizing what that would look like. I started believing that there was a brighter future for me without him. And this is what got me through a lot of those nights, a lot of those days where I was just feeling so in pain. I was so much in pain, wanting him, wanting things to change, wanting to fix him, wanting to do all those things. I started shifting from that to how would it feel then to be where I want to be without him? What would my future look like without him? And that shifted my energy. And that made me focus on me. And that made me focus on my future and what I wanted and what I desired. And I was no longer focusing on him. The next thing that I did, which was, I think this is pivotal, it's key, is that I started focusing more on self-improvement. And it was about evolving right into a better version of myself, focusing on me again, right? Putting all that energy, all of it into me, right? Not for anyone else, but for myself, right? It was all about me. It was about cultivating, my interests, my skills, my passions. And so I started taking, salsa lessons. I started with bachata. And then as some of you know, I met my husband and taking salsa lessons. But that was later on. I started taking, bachata first, for a few months. And then in a different studio. And then months later, that's when I met my husband. But it took me about a year, honestly, to get over this man, because there was such a huge attachment to him. But in that year, this is what I did. I really focused on me, put all that energy that I was spending on him and giving him. I put all of that energy into me. And I went back to school. I was working full time. So I was going to night school. So all my focus, all my energy was on becoming and building a better version of me instead of him. And that made me feel so happy, so fulfilled, and so in alignment with what I wanted, right? So remember that your relationship with yourself is the one really that sets the tone for every other relationship that you have in your life. And this, I truly believe this, because once I started improving on my own relationship with myself, once I started doing all of these things, that's when I started attracting healthier men. And I was no longer attracted to my ex. I was over it. I didn't want to go back to that. That's when I'm like, I don't care to ever cross a path with this man. I'm happy to go on my merry way. I wish him all the best. I don't wish him ill. I wish him all the best, yet I'm not interested in ever going back there. Not interested in having a conversation with him. I'm not interested in knowing anything about him. I'm just interested in me and my life and what my future entails with my, now husband, right? So, and even back then, when, I started doing all these things, it just shifted. Everything just shifted because it's also a habit that we have. We create these habits, right, along the way. So we start like obsessing over, like, our thoughts are all about this one person. So we create this habit of just thinking of this one person and focusing on one person. And then when you start shifting and changing that habit and you start thinking of yourself and what you need, you start creating a new habit. You create this habit of thinking of you, right? You create a new habit, and your energy just goes to you. So it's a habit creation in a way. You shift this old habit to this new habit that's actually serving you. So, with all that. So as I wrap this up, my loves, I want you to know that letting go of a toxic relationship is not just an end, right? It's a powerful beginning. And this is with a lot of what we think. It's like, oh, we think like this is the end, but it's a powerful beginning. It's a beginning of a journey towards a more loving, more respectful, more fulfilling life for you. And it could even be for him, right? Maybe he starts realizing those things, and he could have that, another relationship, and it's, good, and it's a better relationship than he had in the past. So really focusing on that it is not the end, it is a beginning. It's a new beginning. It's a new beginning for you. It's a new beginning for your life. It's a new beginning for everything that, it's a ripple effect too, because once you start this new beginning, this new you're going to affect other people, right? Maybe you have little sisters, maybe you have, friends, maybe younger friends, or maybe other, people see you. You could be the example, right? That other women can see that we are worthy, and that we are so deserving of having that beautiful relationship, and we don't have to settle for breadcrumbs. We don't have to settle for these relationships. And we have different standards and different requirements for someone to be in our lives. And we need a healthy man in our lives. We want the healthy men in our life, and we require that, right? We require a man who's going to come in and improve our lives, not make it worse, not bring in troubles, not do any of those things, right? A man is coming in to improve our lives, to make our lives easier. I actually did a little clip the other day of how happy I am with my husband, because he makes my life so much easier. And this is what you need to look for, is a man who makes your life so much easier, right? A man is that beautiful cherry on that cake, and this is why he's here. This is why you want him in your life, because he makes your life so much better. He makes your life so much easier, and you're much more fulfilled with him. If your man is not doing any of those things, it's time to rethink it, okay? Because a good man, a healthy man, this is what he brings in. He makes it easy for you. So my loves, thank you so much for joining me today. As you know, I love you so much, and I hope you ladies have a beautiful, beautiful day. Remember that you are not alone in this. We're all in this together. I am sure a lot of women have gone through this, so there is no shame in this. We just have to be more loving, more compassionate towards ourselves, and lift each other up, right? Lift each other up. And so I send you so much love and so much compassion your way. Until the next one.